Welcome to Two of My Favorites. My name's Richard, Faye, now and on. Any of those names is fine. This is a show that I'm going to try to do over the summer, where for one episode, I will talk about something I like, and I will give my reasons behind liking it, the history, and anything and all my thoughts on it. It's more of a stream of consciousness thing than anything, and it's just a way for me to talk about the plethora of things that I like. Now, disclaimer, sometimes I misremember things, sometimes things are factually incorrect, because I'm just sitting here and just kind of going on. So some things may not be accurate. I may not know everything, and I don't know everything. So if something is wrong, I apologize. If you're an expert out there, I apologize. Sometimes things I like may not be exactly what someone else likes, and that's just fine. We all like different things, so let's just try to be kind. So today's episode is about The Simpsons. Bum, 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 bum. That was terribly off key. The Simpsons. It's something that I recently got back into a couple months ago. I'd say about 6 months ago. And it's something I don't really remember. I remember watching it growing up in the US, but I do not remember more than 2 or 3 specific episodes. And when I did watch it, I didn't get a lot of the humor. I just understood that they were yellow people walking around and talking, and there was this family of 5 that most episodes were centered around. It wasn't anything that a 6-year-old would really understand. And then 6 months ago, I watched a video by Super Eye Patch Wolf, and it's called The Fall of the Simpsons: How It Happened. And that video got me back into The Simpsons because what he said there I thought was amazing. I thought was something that I really wanted to watch. So I went back to seasons 2 through 9. I do not have Disney Plus, so I had to find other means. They were scattered around, and I watched some episodes whichever ones were available. And that's when I started getting back into The Simpsons. And I quote a lot of the things that I've seen there to my girlfriend and people around me, and a lot of them do not know what the frick I'm saying. So I might be regurgitating a bit of what Super Eye Patch Wolf said, but when I went back and watched a lot of the episodes, I found a lot of the things that he said to be true. Simpsons seasons 2 through 9 are some of the best written television episodes I have seen, and I've seen a lot of television. No, not really. I have not seen a lot of television. That's a lie. They're things that blend satire, comedy, dark humor, real problems in society so well into its characters, and it develops these characters so intricately and detailed that it makes it hard to not like when you understand what's going on, which is probably why I never returned to it until I watched Super Eye Patch Wolf's video. As a kid, you don't understand what the heck satire. What is this dark humor that I'm supposed to be laughing at, or what is this surreal atmosphere that they're building? I just think it's stupid. But you appreciate much more when you go back and watch it with a different lens, with an older lens. And that sounds kind of boomerish or kind of oldish, but it's true. So watching seasons 2 through 9 was an amazing experience. I have an episodes list that's going to come up. I also watched some of the newer episodes, season 20 plus, and I did not watch all of them. That's a disclaimer. But I did watch the ones that were on YouTube. Sometimes there were clip ones, and I must say that I found more of a devolution of the writing process or of the style of The Simpsons. And I agree with what Super Eye Patch Wolf says, that it feels like 2 completely different shows. There's one on YouTube where you can find where it's The Simpsons go to a water park, and I don't know if I'm out of touch with a lot of comedy or popular news that goes on these days, but a lot of the jokes felt very awkward. They felt incredibly disingenuous, or they felt rushed. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but a lot of the new Simpsons episodes feels more like slapstick or fast humor, kind of like fast fashion, but it's like fast humor, like something you get from Family Guy or Family Guy. I didn't enjoy it, and then the last episode I heard of The Simpsons before I completely forgot about them was the Simpsons and Family Guy episode, where it was supposed to be this hilarious thing. I think it was back when I was on 9gag and the episode was about to premiere, and I think I watched it. I rewatched it recently, but I watched it and I did not find any of the humor appealing at all, or maybe 1 or 2 gags, but I feel like that was my perception of The Simpsons and of Family Guy together, that's what The Simpsons and Family Guy were. And I never thought that it was something else before that episode. So when I watched Super Eye Patch Wolf's video, I'm plugging him a lot here. When I watched Super Eye Patch Wolf's video, it felt like I had to experience this by myself. So then I went back and I wanted to see how different they were. What made the old Simpsons so revered, and why am I quoting it now all the time to my girlfriend and people around me? So I've gone through and done a list of episodes that I that I like, and I'm going to talk about some of their characters. I'm gonna try to not dwell too deep into them, in case some of them I may want to talk about for to my favorites of its own. That's possible. I don't have to just scope myself to the large scope, but I could also do the smaller scope of shows. So let's start. I think these are in order of season, because I went on IMDb and listed the ones that I actually saw and really liked. Lisa's Substitute. What an amazing episode that demonstrates how isolated someone can feel, and how they feel unhappy, they can develop a need for emotional security. And this, in Lisa's case, it's in her substitute teacher, who she happens to have a crush on. And the ending of the episode is one of my favorite things since I've rewatched it 3 days ago. The letter, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this, the letter her substitute teacher hands her, and then she reads after he departs in the train, "You are Lisa Simpson." That is something that not only blends emotion, but also communicates to people that probably are old enough to understand. Again, a 6-year-old me wouldn't have understood this. That it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to know who you are and acknowledge that and grow from that and be comfortable with that. And I don't know if I'm getting a different meaning than someone else, but that's, from what I understood, that's what Mr. Bergstrom, I think that's his name, Mr. Bergstrom was telling Lisa, is that whenever you feel sad, look at that note. That's an amazing message. I might have to do an episode on this. And then you have episodes like Stark Raving Dad, where Michael Jackson's voice performance feels really authentic. I believe it. And I believe the world of The Simpsons is real with there being a Michael Jackson and a Michael Jackson impersonator in there. And there's a lot of comedy and heart, especially with the "Lisa, it's your birthday" song at the end. It creates a sense of emotion that comes right after a bunch of comedy so well, especially Homer saying, "Oh, I'm not special enough to wear a pink shirt. I'm not different enough." It's hilarious. Something amazing. And then there's Treehouse of Horror 2 with the monkey's paw. I love the monkey's paw. Erwin Marge asks where he got the monkey's paw, and then he turns around and he's like, "It's over there. It's gone." And then there's a punchline. It's amazing. Last Exit to Springfield, there's a lot of humor. This is one of the funniest episodes I've seen, and it's done so very well while also talking about political strikes or worker strikes and how those are organized and what they can bring. It provides layers while also creating this humor tone with "Dental plan, Lisa needs braces. Dental plan, Lisa needs braces." I quote that sometimes, and it feels beyond what it is all the time. And even if you only get the humor and don't think about it, it's still enjoyable regardless. Last Temptation of Homer is also another great episode that I really like, because it deals with actual problems that married people may have. And then you have Treehouse of Horror 5, where it has the shinning, I wish I hadn't killed that fish, and Nightmare Cafeteria, that creates this wonderful parody of horror movies in a Simpsons way, and it somehow manages to make it its own. And you don't even need to have watched The Shining to know the horror movie references. In fact, you could stick with just what they present, and it's still a comedy on its own. It's still something you can laugh on a chair with your parents. I like horror movies, and the annual Treehouse of Horror was just something I enjoyed rewatching a lot. There's Bart of Darkness, where Homer says, "If you get a job like me, you'll miss every summer." I love that line a lot, because it's just this jab at adulthood and how you're only young for some time, and eventually your summers will be spent working. Homer the Great, that takes a jab at the Freemasons. I absolutely love the song "We Do." Some of the lines like "Who keeps the metric system down?" stuff like that. I think it was ahead of its time. I guess I wasn't alive in the 90s, so I don't know if people were actively thinking about the metric system. But watching that again made me realize that, oh shoot, I guess this isn't something we joke about just now, that, oh, America is the only country or one of 3 countries in the world that still uses the imperial system, and the world uses the metric system. That's my favorite line. There's far more lines, but I'm keeping it at that. And then there's Bart versus Australia, where my favorite line is easily, "I miss the Prime Minister, Andy." Well, that episode it's over the top, and yet it feels grounded in the Simpsons world and feels appropriate for what it's delivering, and it's just comedy after comedy after comedy. And I quote the line, "Burkina Faso, disputed zone." That delivery is amazing, and I laugh every time I watch Bart versus Australia. Bart sells his soul. This episode is emotional and humor packed. You could watch it from a more religious perspective, or a more religious influence perspective, when you observe the nature of the human soul and how souls are vital to us. Or you can just watch it for what it is, comedy, where Bart runs and Homer's like, "Run, boy, run." Or when Lisa and Bart embrace at the end, and it's a very emotional episode. You can get the emotion. If you don't get the emotion from the soul part, you can get the emotion from what Lisa did to help her brother. And then there's Treehouse of Horror 6, and this one had the episode that I remember vaguely from a kid, and that was Homer Simpson in the actual human world, in Homer Cubed, I think. I remember only the shot of him walking in the human world, in our world, when Homer hides from Patty and Selma's visit, and then he ends up getting sucked into another dimension. Something you'll never see in modern Simpsons. And then there's 22 short films about Springfield. I quote Steamed Hams to my girlfriend a lot, and I sing the Steamed Hams Gorillaz mashup a lot. And Steamed Hams, the delivery, the pacing of it is amazing, but that's not just it. You also have the Pulp Fiction parodies. You have Lisa getting gum in her hair, and then you have Nelson laughing at that really tall guy in the car. And that scene was so, for some reason, to me, it was incredibly awkward to watch, but I found it hilarious. It amplifies it to the viewer a lot, that it's a bit of an awkward scenario that you're probably never gonna find yourself in, but yet it communicates that laughter of Nelson getting his comeuppance very, very well. And then there's You Only Move Twice, which is another one of my favorite episodes. And I think Mr. Hank Scorpio is a lot of Simpsons fans' favorite too. He's an excellently written one-off character and should be the prototype as to what a one-off character should be. He comes in, he does his job, delivers that "I'm the nice boss" rhetoric, and then he proceeds to be the supervillain that's super nice, and ends up persuading Homer to stay, or wanting Homer to stay in Cypress Creek while also trying to destroy the world. And I love how they just glance over the fact that Homer killed the equivalents of James Bond in the Simpsons world. And then you have one of the most depressing episodes, in my opinion, of The Simpsons of all time, and it's Homer's Enemy with Frank Grimes, and it's an infamous episode. I think it's the highest rated Simpsons episode on IMDb, and I could probably do a whole To My Favorites on this. Homer's Enemy I think encapsulates the prime of Simpsons very well, where you can hit hard with the satire, deliver this emotional gut punch at the end, and then undercut it again with a kind of bittersweet comedic punchline, something that you cannot find, or I don't think you can find, in any of the modern Simpsons episodes. Something else I gathered from Super Eye Patch Wolf's video is that apparently a lot of the Simpsons characters in the newer seasons have been changed quite a bit to, I guess, reflect more politically correct times, and I don't know how to feel about that. When you watch like the Springfield Files, for example, you see a lot of Moe as a criminal, but then in later episodes, Moe has just become a family friend. But there's been a lot of character change that's changed the perception of how the Simpsons presents its storyline. And you can also see that in Barney Gumble. I was surprised as heck to hear that Barney quit becoming an alcoholic, and then I think he became, a soda drinker or a water drinker or something. Rewatching the episodes, I understood exactly what the original writers were going for. That Barney Gumble is a dark representation of alcohol addiction. And then to flip that upside down and then make Barney Simpson just a former alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, seems counter to what the original Simpsons was trying to present. And that's why the seasons 2 through 9 are my favorite. And it's because the way to present things was against, I would say, the conservative culture at that time, or the culture of this is family values, this is what we have. And the Simpsons tore that down and presented the dark reality that sometimes things aren't always perfect. No, sometimes you're tempted, sometimes you have temptations. There's these dark themes of bullying, depression, finding your own identity. And that's what elevates Simpsons season 2 through 9 above the other seasons, the newer seasons for me. Because when I realized that Lady Gaga did a collaboration with The Simpsons, I didn't care, because the original Simpsons could manage to do a be yourself, love yourself message much stronger than a celebrity message, I felt. And I feel like celebrity messages, when you have a celebrity be themselves and then try to present a positive message in that way, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. But to have that in older Simpsons episodes where they can become characters instead and be directly involved in a character's life, for example, Lisa's Substitute, is much stronger. It's much stronger writing. It's intricate. It's complicated. It delivers more of a punch too. I don't know if I'm talking to myself here. I don't think I'm justifying any of my reasons appropriately. Yeah, The Simpsons, the old Simpsons that I've been watching at least is special to me, and I'll be going back to a lot of these episodes whenever I get Disney Plus. But I've been on a Simpsons streak recently, especially with school being done a couple days ago. I'm planning to watch much more episodes, even the newer ones that are a bit less rated, and we'll see what I think about it then. But for now, The Simpsons seasons 2 through 9 is a favorite of mine because of how seamless it transitions across genres and across delivery and stuff like that is hard to do. When people started praising Bong Joon-ho's Parasite for its blend of dark humor, satire, thriller aspects, horror aspects together, that appraisal is what I have for Simpsons seasons 2 through 9, or maybe a select 2 episodes. I'm sure there are bad episodes there, but that cross genre blending that you have there is exactly what makes The Simpsons one of my favorites. And it's something that I'm gonna seek throughout other cartoons and other things I watch, and find those shows that can manage to feel like they had heart put into them, to feel like the writers actually wanted to do this, and it's something that you cannot find rarely anymore. So I don't really know how to end these things. I haven't really thought about an outro or anything, but I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about The Simpsons for the first episode of 2 of my favorites. If you like this video at all, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want some more other content. I don't know exactly how long I'll be doing this for, but this is something that I enjoy doing. Talking about things I like talking about. But yeah, for now that's it. Until next time, don't forget to be kind.